July 7, 2019. What a happy world with truth beside me. Neil Worthington. Licensed Unity teacher and spiritual leader at Unity of Payson, Arizona.
What a happy world with truth beside me. There are a number of us who show up the first and third Tuesday evenings from 6 until 9 to take a look again at a spiritual text called A Course in Miracles. Are you familiar with it? Vaguely, anyway. Even one of our presidential candidates, Marianne Williamson, is a student of the Course in Miracles. Well, one of the key things, this is a statement from the Course, what a happy world with truth beside me. One of the key themes in the Course of Miracles is the distinguishing between truth and illusion. Truth and illusion. Things are not always as they appear to be, and I'm sure you know that from your experience. And often in Unity we speak about the appearance of something rather than the reality of something, because we know that the picture is so much bigger than we are. So, these three things that I've discovered are not always as they appear to be, and these lead us to our spiritual truths. Number one, we are not limited. We are limited is the illusion. We are not limited is the truth. We don't very often take that to heart, really. We say, well, we're sort of unlimited, and maybe some things might be possible, but in fact, we remember the scripture that says, all things are possible with God. Believe it a little bit. Things are not always appear, and Maurice referred to this. We are separate is a belief that may be an illusion. In my opinion, it is an illusion. We are one in a greater sense than we are individuals, unique. We are both, but that oneness is something that ties us all together and is the truth of our being. And also we think of things when they appear pretty dicey in life as the fact that we're the victim of some situation. The truth is that we are not victims. But we can claim the truth to overcome and transform whatever situation we may be in. I'm going to tell you a story that I may have told before, but I'll hopefully tell it a little bit differently, and you may get something from it. It's about something that is not as it appears to be. In 1955, in Thailand, there was a move to take all of the Buddhas that were in temples throughout the land and bring them closer to Bangkok. And so one particular Buddha was moved to, probably it was the last one on the list because it wasn't very attractive. It was a clay Buddha, a mud Buddha. And that mud Buddha was pretty hefty bit of sculpture. It was more than 10 foot high, weighed about 5.5 tons, and well, it had to be moved. And so it was moved to a temple at Wat Trainmit. And in the moving process, it had been moved several times throughout its history, but in the moving process, loading this clay Buddha in its immensity was quite a task, and it fell from the cart onto which it was being loaded. It was near the end of the day, and so the workmen decided to wait until tomorrow to try to recover it, get it on the cart, and move it as they had been ordered to do. One of the monks who was more or less in charge of this exercise, went out to check that things were okay, even after dark. He took a flashlight, shined it on this immense mud Buddha. He saw something that didn't make any sense to him. He saw something that there was a glimmer, a glint of light. And of course there had been a little crack in the fall of the Buddha, and from that crack was emitted a glimmer of light. So he got a chisel and a hammer, and he began to chip away, and as he chipped away, more of this glimmering, more of this light came out, and he found in the end that the clay Buddha was in fact a golden Buddha, but covered with clay, a stucco-like clay that was there for, and had been for some almost 200 years, to protect the Buddha. It so happened that in 1767, the Burmese were invading Thailand, and they were ruthless. And to protect that Buddha, the monks daubed it with clay, a stucco-like mixture, and it became a very kind of not too interesting looking specimen. Well, all of those monks died at the hands of the invading Burmese. And the secret, the reality of the situation, was lost. No one was around who could recall that the Buddha was, in fact, a golden Buddha. And so for almost 200 years, that clay Buddha was lowly regarded, and finally, in 1955, it was discovered that what it appeared to be was not as it really was, but in fact, within that stucco was a golden Buddha. It had probably been fashioned in India many, many years ago. It was made in 9 parts that could be disassembled and assembled again. That clay Buddha or that golden Buddha, which was the clay Buddha, is now enshrined near Bangkok. You can go and visit it if you'd like to. But it shows us that things are not always as they appear to be. What did I do with my glasses? No, my clicker. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Yeah, there it is. Oh, Deb already gave it to me. There's the golden Buddha. So let's move on to us. That illusion, that clay Buddha, is somewhat like us. We live in an illusory way. We have forgotten who we are. And many of us are chipping away at that mud that encrusts us and finding who we truly are. When we were children, when we were born into this physical world, we probably remembered that a little bit, who we really were. We were happy, we were creative, we were spontaneous, and then we learned not to be. We were domesticated, as Don Miguel Ruiz said. We were made to believe, not made, but we were urged to believe that we were an illusion. We were something different than that great happiness, that creativity, that spontaneity. So we developed an illusory self, but it was not the true self. We forgot the true self for the most part. It wasn't in an attempt to protect ourselves, of course. We were looking to function in the world, and so to protect ourselves, we covered up in something that was an illusion to protect the real us. There's one other phrase from A Course in Miracles, and going back to A Course in Miracles, we'll leave the Buddha for a minute, we'll come back. I am as God created me. Such a simple statement. So how did God create you? Or how did you, maybe you even think that being an expression of the divine, you reached back into that time of creativity. How did that great creation, that is man and woman, come to be? And what's its nature? So I want to just share a few things. The truth of us, that self that's been covered up. And this is my belief. I'm giving you my belief. I suspect that a number of you will resonate with that. And I encourage you, we talk about, Donna mentioned that distance from the head to the heart. I would extend it even a little bit more to the belly. We are functioning so much up here that we find it a foreign kind of exercise to move down into our heart, or even to the sense part of us, our belly. But when we do, we get a chance to remember who we are. And as we remember, we know the truth for us. It's a truth for us. There's not an objective truth put in books that we can learn and then we've got it. The truth must resonate with us. In Unity, we call that a maieutic interpretation of a sacred text. So we may look at a text that says something, but what goes beyond that is we see and feel the truth within us that resonates with that. And so we know it to be the truth. Here's what I'm discovering about the truth of me. I am a spiritual being experiencing a physical existence. A little hard to stretch your mind around it, but go to your heart and your gut. You may find that to be true for you as well. I am created in the image and the likeness of the divine. We talk about the divine and we think of the divine as all good, all knowing, all powerful, all present. Well, that very nature, that image and nature of the divine is true of you as well, and me. So we know, with me thinking, that I am created in the image and likeness of the divine, and that's all good. One other thing I know that resonates with me is that the truth of my being, my true being, is experienced at one point in time. That point is the present. Not in the history, not in the story that I had, not in my biography, not in my traumas, not in my resentments, but in the present. Nor is it experienced in the future, what I aspire to be. Because I'm likely to take the past and project it onto the future and create a future that's similar to the way I've been operating. The present is the place where I can experience my true being. So I want to just share a couple of truths that in the light of those things I feel are important for me. Being made in the nature of the divine, I am whole. So this is a tough one to believe when I'm feeling my back pain, which I have. And that is how it appears to be, but there is an illusory kind of thing about that. The truth behind all that is that I am whole. Second truth, I am unlimited. Well, I can't do that. My mother used to say, she was pretty true. We're pretty right about this. Kent never did anything. I am unlimited. We read it with God, all things are possible, but we don't really believe it. I know I haven't fully believed it. I'm learning to believe it more and more. But it is the truth of me. I am unlimited. Imagine what that could mean. I am one with all creation. Again, thank you, Maurice, for sharing that. The creative act was not, I'm like this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and then we'll throw all of that. It was a single creative act. Everything that is in creation has that connection. We are one. With each other, of course, we think of that in the human realm. But with all of creation, some of which we know, some of which may be on our yet bound the stars. I am one with all creation. And then we're getting to where I want to go today. The truth is that I am destined for complete happiness. Amen. Thank you. That's better than an amen. All right. I am destined for complete happiness. So, even if you think of a creative God that is somewhat outside of yourself, I'm thinking of that more welling from within and encompassing all of it. But even if you think of that, it's hard to imagine God being unhappy. Unless you go to the punishing God that you may have grown up with, which I think is not the truth. So, happiness then is our legacy. What is happiness? I like to think of this continuum. There's contentment here. That's a happiness. There's joy here, and there's everything in between that contentment and joy. I suspect and I believe that is the very nature of the divine, and being the nature of divine, it is our nature as well. When we talked about wholeness, we have to refer to our history in unity. Those of you who have known the history of Myrtle and Charles Fillmore know that we began the unity movement through these two co-founders, and Myrtle was someone who had only a few months to live, having tuberculosis, and Charles was someone who had had a childhood accident, had to wear a lift on his shoe, was really hampered in his movements. But those two grabbed hold of the truth that they were whole. And in doing so, and in claiming that truth, within 2 years of it's a process of continually affirming the truth of wholeness. Myrtle's tuberculosis was gone, and she lived into her 80s. Charles' short leg and his incapacity in using that leg gradually over time moved to the point where he did not have to have a lift on his shoe. That the pain that had hampered him all along was gone. They believed in that wholeness. They also believed in the unlimited nature of the divine, as do we. Nothing is impossible. Going back to this, I am destined for complete happiness. You remember in the Christian scriptures, writings from Paul saying, I have learned that in whatsoever state I am, there to be content. Seems like Paul was saying, it appears to be that I'm a victim here. It appears that situations around me are horrible and I should be unhappy. But he said, I've learned in whatsoever state I am to be content. Also said, contentment with godliness is great gain. So have we missed the point here? Have we fell for the illusion? And do we fail to keep in our mind that there is a truth behind this that we can claim? I believe there is. But it does take some work. And we could talk about this for a long time, but I'm going to give you 5 steps that you might use to nourish happiness, to nourish and affirm the truth of your being, and thus to bring you to that place where you can claim the state of contentment and even joy. These are drawn from the writings of a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. Who knows how to pronounce this better than I do? Okay, Thich Nhat Hanh. He had an amazing influence on a lot of people. Wrote more than 100 books. Spent a lot of his time in the United States. And he produced what he called 5 practices for nurturing happiness. I just want to share these briefly with you. Here we go. Number 1, letting go. We talk about this a lot in Unity. Letting go what doesn't serve us anymore. Maybe the first step is letting go. If you got a pencil and you want to write them down, write them down. But I'm going to give you an acronym so you can remember. 2, I like the way he puts this, inviting positive seeds within us. If we know the truth that all is well, that all is good, that that's the nature of the divine, and that's the nature in which we were created, there are positive seeds there, waiting to be nourished, waiting to be grown. So invite those positive seeds. Put your mind there. Give your attention there. Invite the positive seeds. And then there's mindfulness-based joy. And I want to emphasize this one just a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you an exercise at the very end to work with this. I find it so easy for my mind to be going somewhere else. I can be eating my breakfast, and I'm thinking about 15 different things, and I'm not really eating my breakfast. I don't have my mind there. I'm not mindful about what I'm putting into my mouth. I'm not mindful of that time in which I am grateful for the nourishment that I'm getting. So mindfulness-based joy may be, as we speak of when we're talking about meditation, in even something as simple as the breath. Being mindful as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And as we hold that breath. Mindfulness. Mindfulness may be in walking. Simply walking to the mailbox. It's a time to be mindful. Or choosing to take a walk. That is a mindfulness-based meditation. Concentration. This one sounds hard, but it's not. I like the word you used. Attend to something. When we give our attention to something, that's what we're going to draw to this. We know that, the law of mind action. That when we give our attention to, that's what we draw to us. The energy that we put out matches the energy that's out there, and together, that energy and our energy work to produce something in our lives that we desire. Concentration, where do we put our minds? Takes a lot of work. Means gently bringing our mind back, as in mindfulness, as in mindful walking or eating. Just gently bringing the mind back when you find it's wandered. Gently bringing it back. Concentrating, focusing. And then being aware and open for insight. It's amazing when you can spend just a a few minutes in quiet. What comes up? It comes up from within. It comes up from that all-knowing nature that is our heritage. Insight. Being open to insight. So we've got 5 things there. LIMCI. I call it LIMCI. Let it go. Inviting positive seeds. Mindfulness-based joy, concentration, and insight. You may not remember all of them, but let's give it a try this week. For a happy world with truth beside me, let's live in the present, because that's where the truth is for us. I want you to just take a moment and think of one thing that you do every day or nearly every day. One activity. Doesn't matter what it is. You got it? So the assignment is this. Take that one activity and be present to it every time you're engaged in it. I've already picked mine. Mine's the eating one. You don't have to pick that one, but you can pick whatever you do regularly and be present to that activity, that time. And as you are present to it, not thinking about what happened before or what is yet to come, you will find that you are living in the present where resides the truth and from which springs happiness. Live in the present with me this week in that activity that you've chosen. And so it is. Amen.